Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Golden Ratio podcast. I am Jen, GR Mom, joined as always by GR Dad.
Hi.
How's it going, GR Dad?
Pretty good.
Excellent. Excellent. The cocktail of the week just disappeared from my screen, so maybe we're just not going to have one
fine.
this week. It's been a tough couple weeks, you guys. We've had like all the book launch stuff, and we've been traveling all over the place, and it's been kind of tiring.
We skipped last week because it was kind of impossible.
Yeah. It was not good.
Well, I think we were coming either in Orlando or coming back from Orlando, and then you were gone, and then it was one thing and another.
It's been a lot. Thank you for your patience with that. Okay, the cocktail of the week is back up on my screen. Is The Old Man in the Sea, which is a good name and a pretty good story.
It's a great name.
It's white rum, grapefruit juice, coconut water, and lime juice.
Oh, that sounds pretty good.
Put a little bit of sea salt in there.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
That sounds pretty good.
Because it's from the sea.
Yeah.
Okay. It's time for Administrative Corner.
I love Administrative Corner. I'm in.
Okay. So thing number one, I have felt very guilty about all of the book pushing. So thank you all for putting up with me pushing the book. One thing that I have not done because I was doing all of the pushing of the book is talk about the calendar, because the last thing I want to do is be like, hey, here's more like stuff for you to buy. But people were like, is there going to be a calendar? I really need a calendar. So there is a calendar.
It looks really good. Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
I ordered some.
2 of them today showed up.
Well, it's 2 of them that you know of.
Yeah, I saw the 2.
Yep.
So anyway, there's a link in the bio link on all the Golden Ratio pages to the calendar. And I got an email today from Lulu, who's the company that prints the calendar. And they say if you use the code TWINKLE30, you get 30% off between tomorrow, I guess Thanksgiving, the 23rd, ending at midnight on 11/28. So you can get it for cheaper.
I could get more and save money?
Yep.
Like contribute more money to the Golden Ratio. This is going to be great. This increases our profits by 30%. Every one I buy is going to this might actually make me money.
Ingo math.
If I buy stuff at 30% discount, but somehow there's something there.
There is something there.
And step 3 is profits.
We got some other items that I'm going to save when we're both like a little more energetically recovered, because it's been nothing has actually been bad. Well, I guess that's not true, but like most of the things, the reason we're tired are not things that have been bad.
Yeah, just a lot.
It's just been a lot. But the one other Administrative Corner item that I do want to mention is that friend of the squad, Married to the Lob, sent us a package, and I had talked to her about what this package was, and Inga was a little perplexed, and I opened it up, and there's like a little stamp, like you stamp it on an ink pad and stamp it, and it's of course reversed. And Ingo's like, what is that? And I was like, it's a stamp. He's like, okay. I'm like, it's an egg stamp. And Ingo got so excited.
It's so awesome. It says Remy's egg.
It's got a little chicken on it.
Yeah.
And it says Remy's egg.
Oh, it's so good.
You stamp it on the shell of the hard-boiled eggs.
That is going to save me minutes. Just minutes. Dozens of minutes.
Look. And he brought over this egg that had all these stamps. He's like, take a picture.
It's so
he like
good.
lit up with the egg stamp.
It's so good. I mean, I'm a simple person, and drawing faces was good for a little while, for many years, I guess, a little while.
A long time.
But I like the egg stamp. It's a lot quicker, and it looks very neat and tidy.
So keep an eye out for stamped eggs.
Egg stamps.
Egg stamps.
It doesn't go on the egg white, though. It just goes on the peel. So by the time, Remy eats his breakfast egg, it just no longer has a stamp on it.
That's
so
true.
We'll have to do a demo. I'll do a demo because I'm super proud of it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that for the Patreons, the egg stamp demo.
Ooh.
Jared Dad Explains His World egg stamp demo.
It'll be short, but funny.
All right, it's time for dog updates. We went to Orlando with the squad this week and met up with a ton of lovely people. That feels like it was a month ago, but it actually was last Tuesday.
Yeah, it was not long ago.
No,
It was intense. It was like a dream in some ways. It was very intense. It was so joyous. I was so impressed that like everyone knows each other directly, like not spoken wheel, but directly.
Yeah.
The lines don't go through us. And they had a lot of people had lunch beforehand and traveled together. It's so cool. I think it's so cool.
It was lovely. We had a great time.
Yep.
But it was a very intense day for both us and the dogs.
Yeah, there was a lot of driving involved, as I recall.
We drove from here up to Orlando, which took about 7 hours.
And I'm spoiled. I like driving in the RV with you as opposed to in a Jeep following you, which is dumb.
We caravanned this time.
Dumb. We're on the phone a lot with each other, but it's not as fun.
It would have sucked to bring the RV up, though.
Oh,
There's nowhere we could have put that in Winter Park, Florida.
Thing's a monster, and I don't like it. So it was better logistically, but a 6-hour drive without you is stupid.
It would have been way easier if we'd been able to trade off.
Yeah.
We drove back in what was, I guess, a tropical depression. Technically, it didn't get a name, but it like the entire state of Florida was under rain, and there were parts that were like super treacherous in the Keys. They got like, what'd you say, 15 inches of rain up in Key Largo?
Yeah.
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 So we drove back in that.
And like 50 or 60 mile an hour winds across the bridges. So maybe the RV would have been a bad idea.
Yeah.
It would have pushed us off the bridge.
It just bloop, popped up right there next to Florida.
And just was. And it looked like a hurricane on the radar.
It had a little eye in rotation.
Kind of circular,
yeah. So that was dramatic coming back.
A pop-up hurricane.
And then there were a lot of book events last week.
Yeah.
Which was fun, but it was a lot. And by the end of the weekend, I was just kind of on the verge of crying all the time because I had been like looking at so many like videos and photos of myself that I didn't like and like staring into the camera, like looking happy, which like I was happy, but also like it takes a lot of energy to make your face look right on camera for that long. And it took a lot out of me.
Yeah.
And this week I don't have to do too much of it, though there are items creeping in there, which I guess is good. It means people like the book. And then I'm back on the road for basically 3 weeks.
It's too bad you're so pretty and everyone wants to look at you except yourself, which is the hard part. If you were more vain, this would be more easy for you. Like, hey, check me out. Everybody look at me.
Oh, I mean, that could be.
Look at me. It's energizing me to look.
Woo, that would be a thing for me and therapist Dave to work on. I don't see myself getting there. Okay. Positive update for last week. I mean, all the book stuff was positive, but it was a lot. Fun stuff that was positive and was pretty mellow is that Ched's whole entire family came to visit and stayed with us. So Cheddar, and for those of you who follow, Ched's Big Cheese on Instagram, which is Cheddar's account. He lives with Finn and Daisy, who are also Goldens. And then Mom and Dad came.
Yep.
They kind of camped in our front yard because there were a bunch of people who were following it, and they're like, how is Remy with Ched's? And the answer is, we don't fucking know. They didn't go see each other.
It was carefully orchestrated to kind of keep them apart because we don't want them remembering their old fighting days.
We would text back and forth. Like they'd be like, okay, we're going to take our dogs out, and be like, okay. And then we wait and we'd be like, okay, is it okay if we bring our dogs down? So it was well orchestrated.
Yeah. I mean, Feta and maybe Guac and Brody could overlap because they don't, they're...
Remy's actually the problem. Everybody else, I think, had swim team.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not Remy.
I mean, and look, Remy didn't suffer too. I gave him separate swim lessons, and it was fine. But it did have to be coordinated more. But it's fun having them around.
It was lovely. They're both the dogs and the humans are great.
Mm-hmm.
We had a super fun time with them.
I think at some point, Cheddar and Brody were sleeping outside on the porch together.
Yes,
separately, parallel, but at the same time.
They were.
Yeah.
So that's good. We've had other visitors before, and it's been stressful in one way or another. And these visitors, despite 5 souls coming to the house, were like, just kind of felt like they lived here. It was nice.
Yeah, it was a good vibe.
Yep.
You can't make vibes sometimes, but it was a good vibe.
Yeah, totes. All right. We are now to the less than positive part of dog updates.
That was the good news, and now there's not so good news.
Which is not fully news yet, but it's not good. So, Vink, I guess in mediocre news, is heading up to Maryland with GR Dad on Sunday, probably, to get her elbow evaluated by the surgeon who did her elbow dysplasia surgery when she was 9 months old. So we may have talked about that last time that we got that appointment, but that's happening in a few days. The road trip is happening.
Yep.
The reason that that's a probably is that we were petting Vink this week, and Ingo found a lump on the back of one of her legs.
I'm a very good lump detector, for
You
good
are.
or for bad.
You are a very good lump detector. And then now that I am on the path to becoming a medical professional, working on my EMT, this is not anything they taught me there, but because I'm a hypochondriac, I know that you want to look forward to see if any lumps are symmetrical, like is it on both sides? And it was on both sides. And so then that's either anatomy and it's supposed to be there, or it means there's a problem on both sides. And so we got her into the vet, and there's lymph nodes on the back of their legs, and that's what those are. And her lymph nodes on her legs are very big. They feel like
Great.
plum tomatoes.
Is that bigger than cherry tomatoes?
Yeah.
They're bigger cherry tomatoes, or maybe the next size tomato.
Yeah, key lime size, maybe.
Yeah.
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 But then the ones on her neck are also swollen.
Yeah. And she's had that what is it called? Throat paralysis for a while. So I thought that was her lymph nodes were.
I mean, her
swollen.
larynx was sore. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So her lymph nodes are all swollen. She does not have a fever, so it's not that she has an infection, which means it's probably lymphoma. So we did a test on Monday. The results have not come back yet. Her blood work came back and looks pretty good, which,
Whatever that means. Yeah.
Yeah, her pancreas values are a little weird. When they stage lymphoma in dogs, stage 1 is that you have one lymph node. Stage 2 is that the lymph nodes that are involved are either on the head half or the butt half, but it doesn't cross the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Stage 3 is that you've got lymph nodes on both sides, which is what we have. So we're at least at stage 3. And then stage 4, you can get involvement in the liver and one other, I don't remember what the other organ is.
Mm-hmm.
You can say it. I don't know what it is. And then
Oh, excellent.
stage 5, you'll get like bone marrow involvement and more systematic stuff. So I guess it's a good sign that her blood work is okay. That maybe doesn't mean like her other organs are messed up. So we're still waiting. And of course, Thanksgiving is going to make it longer to wait for information. I mean, the vet's working tomorrow, and she's like, if I get some results tomorrow for some reason, I'll let you know, but we'll probably find out on Friday. So there's 2 main kinds of lymphoma and then a third kind, which is what Remy has. So normally
This is special.
B cell or T cell, and the T cell is more aggressive. Remy has T-zone lymphoma, which is indolent. And I mean, wouldn't it be great if she has to have lymphoma, that would be the one that she has, but it's pretty uncommon. The T-zone is much more aggressive, or the T cell is much more aggressive. And yeah, so the prognosis for lymphoma in dogs without treatment is 4 to 5 weeks. But you can do chemo, and they tend to respond pretty well to it and, tolerate it well. Like, they don't lose their fur. They tend to have pretty minor reactions to it. And that eventually they will often relapse, but that can add a very long time and kind of put them into remission if you do chemo. So we can't do anything about that till we even have a diagnosis. We don't even know what it is at this point. So if we were to find out that she had, some super aggressive advanced version of lymphoma, she probably wouldn't go to Maryland to get evaluated for elbow surgery if they were like, the prognosis is 2 months even with chemo.
Because then we'd want to deal with chemo right away too.
Yeah. But we don't know. So it's like not great. Her lymph nodes are definitely giant. And we're just waiting to see what happens.
It was not good finding that and getting this news.
Nope.
It'd be better if it were like lymph node ballooning is common in, older Goldens or something.
Yeah, no kidding.
Not that we know of, though.
So that's dog updates. Do you have any other dog updates you would like to offer?
No, the dogs were all good this week.
That's somebody else's line.
Well, I'm a fan.
Okay. Speaking of, it's time for Taste of the Keys. Taste of the Keys this week is that I had a party on Sunday. And every time Ingo and I go out in Key West, we walk past the Hemingway House, and the Hemingway House does like 200 weddings a year, which is like a big number of days in the year.
It's like a compound right in the middle of town, so it's you kind of walk by it from different directions. It's central.
Yep. And it's very beautiful, and there's always like string lights and hung up, and people are having parties, and I'm always like, man, I would like to have had a wedding at the Hemingway House, but I'm married already, and vow renewals are like not my vibe.
And divorce is expensive.
Yeah, quite. And so I've just been like, well, a thing I won't get to do. And then at some point in the spring, I was like, all you actually need to have a party at the Hemingway House is money and an excuse. And I was like, do I have an excuse? And then I was like, wait a minute, like my book comes out, so I could totally have a party to like celebrate my book coming out. And so I did. And it was Sunday. And it was beautiful. We got tours of the house,
Yep.
and we had tasty cocktails and very, very good food, and hung out.
It occurs to me I should have worn a tux. Would that have made it better?
You were great.
I was wearing I was wearing Key West stuff.
I told everybody to wear. Everybody
if
was
I'd
wearing
worn,
Key
like,
West stuff.
a top hat and tails.
You would have looked weird.
Putting on the Ritz. I would have looked weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have looked like a magician.
That's right. And We Rate Dogs came. So Matt from We Rate Dogs and his girlfriend Taylor, who is just a lovely human being,
She's amazing.
and his mom, Barb Nelson, owner of Sizzle, former Golden Ratio dog Sizzle. They all came to the party, which was a great time.
Yeah, and Ched's mom and dad were there too, so it's like a reunion from
Yep.
Golden Ratio rejects.
That's right. People who take our dogs that we don't want got to come to the party. So
It was like a wedding though. There were people from all over and like all over our lives.
yep.
Was
Yeah,
nice.
all kinds of different people.
It was
And they
nice.
all got along great.
No
and-
drama. There were no
No.
fights. Nobody stole anything.
But
No-
like my friends from Maryland and my friends from Alabama, like went out drinking afterwards. A big cohort of the gays, which was like a good significant proportion of the people there, all went out.
Gwen Filosa was there, Pulitzer Prize
Pulitzer Prize winning journalist
journalist.
Gwen Filosa came to the party.
Yep.
Met back up with Pulitzer Prize winning journalist Alex Brandon, dad of Cheddar,
Yep, and
who worked together at the Times Picayune, where they got 2 of their Pulitzer Prizes
right.
each.
great humanitarian Paul Menta and rum maker Paul Menta was there,
Yep.
and his family,
And
his
his-
wife and mother-in-law.
Yep. And they were great.
Yep.
So it was great. It was all the Golden Ratio universe sucked into
We were
one
honored.
spot.
I was honored to be part of this, and I'm just a lucky guy to have married into this whole group.
Fun side fact from that is that it wasn't a wedding. So generally people did not bring presents, which was fine.
Yeah.
But 3 different people brought presents, and the presents were great. But I was like walking around on the lawn. And so the Hemingway House people were like, you can store your presents in the ticket booth, but be careful because
Yes.
there are 61 cats that live here. And if you put it on the floor and they're interested, they'll take it
Or pee on it.
or pee on it.
They did
Yeah.
say that.
So I put them up on like the little shelf in the ticket booth, and it was all booze, which was great.
Yeah, those are good gifts.
So I had 3 bottles, and each of them was in like a little gift bag, and I tossed them into like a beach bag that I had brought when the party was over and left. They were sitting on my desk, and yesterday I was like going through and like unpacking them right before one of my like lifelong friends who came for the party came to visit, and I came out and I was sitting in the living room, and she and her mom were here visiting, and I started like my throat started feeling weird, and like my chest was all itchy, and I was like, oh no, like did I get COVID doing all these events? Like I felt kind of like coughing, and I actually got up in the middle and I was like, I'll be right back, I have to go to the bathroom, and I took a COVID test to make sure that like I wasn't infecting them with COVID, and the COVID test was negative. And then we realized afterwards, I was like, God, I feel so bad. Like I'm kind of sniffy and my throat's really itchy and my skin's kind of itchy, that it was
Ah.
from touching the bags that had been in the room where sometimes cats went. It like had picked up enough cats. So
You're-
that's how allergic I am to cats.
Very sensitive. Although, while you were there, even though there were 61 cats on the property, you were okay. Right?
Yeah, 'cause you're
Luckily.
outside.
No, but it was good, right?
Yeah.
Luckily. It would have been very unpleasant if you'd.
Oh, but I knew that, right? Like, I can be outdoors and there are animals outdoors and it doesn't affect me.
Fair. But you took a tour. There's cats all over the inside there.
Yeah.
So good. I mean, whatever they do, tape the cats down or whatever. It's good.
It's time for German word of the week.
Okay.
That's your job.
Yep. Sammelsurium.
Whoa, it's a good one. I don't
Yeah.
know what it means.
It sounds fancy.
It does.
It's not that fancy. It's what you kind of like describe a messy heap of a pile of kind of clutter. Sammelsurium. Ein Sammelsurium. Sammel is like collect, a collection.
Uh-huh.
And Zurium, I think, is just a made-up suffix that
Oh.
sounds vaguely Latin. So
It does sound vaguely
we
Latin.
used to refer to it as nimm mal dein Sammelsurium hier und pack's weg. Maybe it's like an accumulation of junk. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good word.
Yeah, could be.
Sammelsurium.
Zurium.
Zurium.
S-U-R.
Zurium.
Zurium.
Yeah.
S-U-R-I-U-M, like radium. or-
Zurium.
Yeah, Sammelsurium.
Sammelsurium.
Yep.
That's a good
There
one.
you go.
It's time for Ingo Corner where you can talk about whatever you want.
Oh, I'm still very grateful that everyone is, still interested in the dogs and that we can still do some good by showing the pictures. We heard a lot of positive things about people who are still benefiting from watching the dogs and learning about them. And I really like the community that's formed. And
Yeah, everybody's so nice.
yeah, but it's just nice to know that we may have made things easier for some people by showing pictures and videos of our dogs. And it sounds like it's not that much, but it is something and it's regular and these guys are goofy.
Indeed.
So it was nice to experience that. And it was great to meet some people that I'd only seen in emails and texts and DMs and
Yeah.
things like that. It's just, you all are a nice group and you enjoy doing good, I think, which
Yeah.
is in part why you showed up in Orlando, was also to help your mom. Also
Yeah,
to
it was
pet the
lovely.
dogs, but also
I
to
mean, come on. I was like 80% to pet the dogs.
your
But I'm very happy for the 20% that was to support me.
8%. Didn't you sign some like people's shirts and stuff too?
I signed shirts. I signed copies of the Golden Ratio Kids book, Fun in the Sun.
Oh, that's cool.
The cookbook. Some people had the printed
What a
cookbook.
throwback.
I know. I was like, wow. Somebody came with the whole set. They had the Purist
Ah.
Bond and the kids book and the cookbook, and I signed all of them.
Wow.
My Don't Bet Anyone Unless They Ask You to stamp, extremely popular. Turns out it's extremely popular among people who don't even listen to the podcast. They don't know who we are. They just bought the dog book, and I go like, "Would you like a stamp that says Don't Bet Anyone Unless They Ask You to?" And they're like, "Yeah, I want the whole
Yeah.
thing." And I was like, "Okay,
The whole
good chunk."
Oh, wait till I start putting Remy's eggs on there on every book.
Maybe for some signing, I'll bring that up with me.
Sure,
Bring
Remy's
that
egg.
stamp.
Bonk.
You want a Remy egg stamp? Bonk. That's funny.
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
Anyway, thanks for continuing to listen and to support. And it was great to meet everyone. And we will do more. Don't know when, don't know how, but we will do more unconnected to a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope. That's it.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your patience with no podcast last week. We're going to be back on track.
Oh, yeah. And travel safely if you're traveling for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. And until next time, Slava Ukraini, and don't bite anyone unless they ask you
Nope.
to.
Don't bite anyone unless they ask you to.
Bye.
Bye.